Asia stocks area higher, increase. Inflation fears take a look at profits. Hong Kong Asian shares inched up on Tuesday morning as tremendous economic information and pointers of easing Sino-US tensions presented some respite to the current sell-offs, although continual fears about a global recession and sky-high inflation saved maximum consumers at bay. MSCI's gauge of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was up 0.3%, having erased a part of the early morning gains. The index has fallen 16% to date this 12 months, as issues that significant banks around the arena will push economies into recession to interrupt red-hot inflation have sent traders jogging for cover. Offering quick respite to fearful markets become a record that U.S. President Joe Biden was leaning towards a selection on easing price lists on goods from China. In addition to news, Chinese Vice Superior Liu He had spoken to U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, said Redmond Wong, marketplace strategist at Saxo Markets Hong Kong. A survey showing China's services activity on the quickest tempo in almost 12 months also helped sentiment, he said. Overnight, the Wall Street Journal pronounced Biden become thinking of rolling again a few tariffs on Chinese imports in order to slow inflation. Chinese shares, however, had been risky, and gave up their early gains, with blue chips remaining down 0.6%. There become also nice data from Japan, where the country's offerings region activity elevated on the quickest pace in over 8 years in June because the easing of COVID-19 curbs boosted sentiment among companies such as those in tourism, assisting the Nikkei to rise 0.8%. Referring to the worldwide growth and inflation dynamics, Saxo Markets Wong stated, market contributors are nonetheless assessing the effect of the tug of conflict between inflation being at consistently multiplied levels and signs and symptoms pointing to probably an incoming U.S. recession. Those worries had been front and center in South Korea, where June inflation increased to the fastest pace for the reason that Asian economic crisis, fanning expectations the crucial bank may want to supply a 50 basis point rate hike for the first time next week to cool costs. Australia's principal financial institution meets later inside the day with analysts watching for every other 50 basis point charge hike to tamp down galloping inflation. U.S. markets were closed in a single day for the 4th of July vacation, and U.S. proportion futures rose in Asia alternate, with S&P 500 E-mini futures up 0.4%. In Forex markets, the dollar index was consistent at 105.7, nevertheless extensively supported by way of its safe haven credentials. U.S. Treasury yields returned from the vacation better, with the yield on benchmark 10-year notes at 2.9686% but failing beat back above the symbolic 3% stage. Brent crude futures rose 0.4% to $113.92 a barrel after a 2.4% advantage on Monday, as a strike in Norway is expected to disrupt oil and gasoline output, fanning tight deliver worries. Spot gold become buying and selling flat at $1,809.20 an oz, pairing Monday's losses.